Hi there. Looks like we are live everywhere. Okay, great. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It's been quite a week, hasn't it? I feel a certain amount of relief in my body today, and I think that there's been a kind of a collective wave of relief. It doesn't mean that the circumstances are over that we have to face. It just is that I've been talking with a lot of my clients about this, and a lot of us have agreed that after January 6th, it was as if a bunch of us went into kind of like, and we've been kind of in a collective for 4 years. And that's a long time to be holding our breath. And now I think there's probably, as there is with any kind of trauma, a kind of a slow movement forward, like, okay, maybe I can breathe. Maybe it's okay. Maybe we can relax a little bit, tentatively, like poking out of our little holes and going, okay, is it safe? And it is, and it isn't. It's both. It's safe and it's not safe. We're still in the midst of a pandemic. We still have a lot of work to do. But I don't know about you. I woke up this morning feeling like a little bit of my nervous system had relaxed a little bit. I'll take it. I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to do this with you. I'm grateful for us to be reading the Heart Sutra together. You know, the Heart Sutra is sort of such a confusing document, especially if you haven't studied it for a long time. But actually, if you've studied it for a long time, in a way, it's even more confusing. But I love this document. I feel like I've received tremendous clarity from this document, and I hope that it's been helping you as well. I know it's not easy to always understand, and there's a whole lot of words that might seem contradictory and strange, but it helps when we can dissolve our pre-formulated fabrications in our minds about what is and is not. And January, the month where, you know, in the past, even though I wasn't reading it aloud to you all, I would read this document every January as part of our work in the temple with Prajnaparamita. So for me today to get to bring this to you this whole month of January 2021 and going forward through this year, sharing little elements every day at the beginning of practice of, you know, devotion to the goddesses of the temple feels really right, and I'm excited to be able to do this. So thanks for coming along on this journey, even though sometimes it involves some obscure references or difficult to understand language. So the heart's perfect wisdom. Uttering the sound of the three states of existence, I enter a mystic union of oneness with the entire cosmos. In the three worlds, in the three times, my breath binds the sound. Purifying the body, speech, and mind. I take refuge and invoke the awakened mind of the goddess who knows all and hears all suffering. The blessed Bodhisattva Aryatara, from the deep practices of the heart's perfect wisdom, understanding that the five elements of consciousness were always empty, instructing her student Shariputra, she says, in this world of forms, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Form is not separate from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Always, emptiness is the same as phenomena. Potential or actual form and emptiness never separate. So it is for feelings, conceptions, perceptions, and consciousness. All phenomena, Shariputra, have the characteristics of emptiness. They neither die nor take their birth into existence. Neither are improper nor shining with purity. Neither are complete nor deficient in any way wanting. So Shariputra, in that emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, conception, perception, nor consciousness. There is no seeing, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, nor thought. Neither are there solid forms, sound, fragrance, sensation, nor conceptual phenomena. No circle of sight, nor is there a sphere of consciousness. There is no knowledge nor ignorance. Neither does ignorance get vanquished, nor knowledge voided. No long road into aging and death, and no liberation from it. No causes of suffering, nor samsara. No stopping on the journey of joy and suffering. There is no clinging to thoughts, nor grasping. There is no attainment of anything, as there's nothing to attain. With blissful practicing of the heart's perfect wisdom, obstructions of mind move clear, and the labyrinthine maze of thought impressions and delusions of duality are liberated. In this way, the blessed Bodhisattva Aryatara enters enlightened transcendence. In the three worlds, all on the Bodhisattva path may practice the heart's perfect wisdom, and in applying it every moment, find the nature of mind and enter enlightenment. So understand and see the mantra of the heart's perfect wisdom as the strongest of sorceries, as the most powerful saying of mystical and sacred speech. It is the mantra which smooths over all things, which disperses lies into its light of truth. This mantra liberates all, and it is said like this: Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisoha. Gone, gone, crossed over and gone. Gone completely beyond to the far shore, awakened, and all is good. This ends the heart's perfect wisdom. Really enjoying this deck also this month, Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power by Laura Shanti. Laura Shanti's art was featured this morning in my email from Lion's Roar, which is a Buddhist publication. And it was interesting because the image that was featured for sale today was White Tara. When did we see White Tara this week? Inauguration Day. So I took that as a positive sign that White Tara is coming into our world in a bigger way now, especially with her healing powers in the wake of this pandemic. To see that the shimmering, rippling landscape of appearances is echoing a message that was here at a significant moment earlier this week. And today it's White Mahakala, the god of prosperity and wealth. Wish others wealth and happiness, and yours will come too. Big week for the long life deities and the abundance deities. The white deities in Tibetan Buddhism, they come in, white, green, red, blue, yellow, white, red, blue, green, and yellow. Yeah. And then other colors like saffron and, mixed colors, but mostly those five. And the white pacifying family gives health, long life, well-being, compassion, and in White Mahakala's case, wealth. Who doesn't want a little something so that they can do more in the world? I think we all want that. White Mahakala is a fierce, fiery Dharma protector and the god of wealth and prosperity. He leans forward earnestly, offering you jewels and wealth in whatever form you desire. At the same time, he is looking around you to ward off anyone or anything that might obstruct your ability to accept the wealth he offers. The wealth can be anything that is needed, material things, love, or growth. He doesn't discriminate, but the gifts come about when there is an intent to create a flow with them. His ability to give is tied directly to the practitioner's wish to give. The gifts and treasures are a combination of what the practitioner needs to sustain herself so that she can help others and the gifts that she can give to them. White Mahakala personifies all that he is, and so he is surrounded by a sea of jewels, bubbling and roiling in a vast expanse, his scarf stirred up by the effulgence that flows from the wealth that endlessly pours out of him. He holds a skull cup with 3 jewels flaming inside it. They represent the 3 jewels of practice: the true wealth, the teacher, the teachings, and the spiritual community. They are the main gifts that he has to give, and they are the most powerful ones. Practitioners ask him to come and be present as they perform his puja by chanting his mantra invocation. From the sandalwood grove death grounds like a swirling mass of white clouds of autumn, O white protector, supreme teaching guardian, playful emanation of Padmapani, please come here, pouring out rains of jewels. So that's interesting. Playful emanation of Padmapani means that White Mahakala is an emanation of Avalokiteshvara. Padmapani is the lotus born. That's Guan Yin. So, we are here doing our Guan Yin practice, and we're here with a form of Guan Yin, or a being who arises from Guan Yin, and all about wealth, gems especially mentioned here, which I love as a crystal lady, and jewels, but also effulgence, fullness. And in his many hands, he's holding various different tools: the damaru, the skull drum, the katvanga staff, the kartika blade, the chopper, another staff topped with gems that I've not really seen before. In his hand, he's got this skull cup with the 3 jewels, and they're glowing. At his third eye, there's also a jewel. And in this depiction, that jewel is rising from a formation that looks like the sun, the moon, and is the sun, the moon, and like the flame, or the I don't know how to put that. The rising. He's crowned with 5 skulls. He's wearing the large earrings and earlobes stretched of the tantrikas, the householder tradition. One of the things that's important to note about wealth and the Dharma is that we're not all meant to be monks. Not all of us are meant to be monks. Somebody's got to be able to take care of the monasteries. So, when one takes the vows as a monk, one takes a vow of poverty. That's true. That poverty doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your life. It just means that you don't seek after wealth. Now, for the householder tradition, that's the tradition that our temple belongs to here. It's a little different. We're not expected to take monastic vows. In fact, in a way, some have said that the vows of the householder are more difficult than the vows of the monk because they're not as simple. The vows of the monk are simple. You're going to avoid these things. You're going to do these things. They're direct. Whereas with the householder, it's kind of like a little more nuanced. Like, yes, you can make money, but you have to make money in the right way. And yes, you can have a family and you can have sex and you can have love, but you have to do it in the right way, and not too much and not too little, and not greedy, but not self-effacing. Like, don't, abandon yourself, but don't want too much. It's a lot of little fiddly bits in the householder tradition for how we manage our relationship to Dharma. But the wealth of learning that happens in there is why Vajrayana is referred to as the diamond vehicle. We do the hard stuff. We take on the difficult questions. We don't avoid instances of temptation. We learn to work skillfully with them. We learn to take things like money, eating, sexuality, who we spend our time with, how we communicate, as the path. And so sometimes that means we have to be that fiery protector. We have to stand up for ourselves. We are allowed to take a stand, have boundaries. We're allowed to have emotions. Then also, we can't let them go overboard. We're allowed to make money, but then we can't make it in a way that harms anyone. We're allowed to have partners, but then We can't use sex as a way to debase ourselves or anyone else. So, and sex isn't just for pleasure of our own personal enjoyment. It's also for the liberation of all beings on the waves of pleasure that come from me attaining whatever, whether it's attaining wealth, whether it's attaining a partnership, whether it's attaining love and relationship, whether it's attaining social standing, whether it's attaining, any number of other goals people might hold that define them as having satisfaction. We have to remember that our personal satisfaction is not the end goal. Our personal satisfaction will happen, naturally, it will happen as the side effect of what we're doing to make the world a better place for living beings. So, and for all sentient beings, not just living ones, all sentient beings. That includes our ancestors, that includes the stones, that includes the plants and the trees. So at the end of the day, White Mahakala is here and saying, hey, look, you can have what you want. What do you want? It's up to us to say, I want the benefit of all beings. I want everybody to do well. I want everybody to have the money they need. I want everybody to have a roof over their head. I want everyone to have a comfortable bed to sleep in. I want everyone to have food in their bellies. I want everyone to be loved. I want everyone to have pleasure if they want it in a good and wholesome way. I want everybody's wishes to come true in the best way so that we're all of us overflowing with abundance, overflowing with what we have to offer. And in this way, we sanctify everything that comes toward us so that there's no money that comes into our lives that's dirty. There's no pleasure that comes into our lives that's seedy. There's no opportunity that comes into our lives that would compromise our sovereignty, that would compromise our agency, that would compromise our ethics, that would compromise our principles. Because over time, as we make choice after choice after choice to be what's needed in the world as best we can, imperfectly, but with great devotion, as we continue to do this, it's like it carves a groove into reality. Imagine that, like, if you're having to hack your way through a forest to get somewhere, and you're always hit in the face with branches and plants, and you're can't see and you can't find your way. White Mahakala is here to say, here, let me part the foliage. Let me help you get where you want to go. And in fact, over time, the longer you walk that path, the more you see you're no longer fighting through the verge. You're no longer struggling. All of a sudden, things are just happening. The path seems clear. In fact, it's no longer a dusty path. It's a stone path. And then it's not just a stone path. It's a golden path. It's a jeweled path. It starts as sometimes feeling like you're fighting your way through the rainforest. But where it takes you is to a golden and bejeweled path where the choices that arise, the opportunities that arise before you shine with clarity about what is the right next step to take and how you can leverage whatever you get to help others. And it doesn't matter if the wealth that you attain is for you or not. What matters is that as a part of the inflow of wealth, you are able to look around and say, look, wow, in order for me to continue my Dharma, I want for nothing. I'm okay. I don't actually need more. I have it to give. That is where we want to go today with White Mahakala. So we're going to look for opportunities to attract abundance into our lives today in such a way that we can help others. And what a perfect divination for today. I just woke up this morning thinking, now that the vaccines are becoming available more and more for people, maybe this summer would be a good time for us to have the very first Black Madonna reparation retreat for the Mount Shasta Goddess Temple. And these retreats, the Black Madonna reparations retreats, are retreats that we're gathering donations for. Currently, we've got a little under $1,000. And we are going to put that money, and we're going to gather more of it, and we're going to put that toward hosting small, intimate retreats for women of color who do not have to pay anything to be there, facilitated by a woman of color artist who is magnificent, poet, writer, creatrix, activist, Mona Webb. I actually am babysitting her baby kitty right now while she's in the midst of a move. And there is just like so much good that can come of this. And I've gotten some women sending notes in saying they would very much like to attend these retreats. So I think it's going to happen this summer that we're going to host the first Black Madonna reparations retreat, which means that I need to sort of double down on my fundraising for this, because ideally I think I need around $4,000 in order to do what I want to do, which is like a 4-day immersion and paying for everybody's food, lodging, supplies, paying the instructor, Mona, and even giving everyone a travel stipend. This is my goal. So if I could raise between $4,000 and $5,000 actually, so that I could manage to pay for everyone to get here, or at least offset the cost of them getting here, and so that I could, set all of this up so that Mona gets paid really well for her work during that weekend of facilitation, so that the women are eating really delicious food prepared by the hands of women of color who are excellent chefs, and also creating a space so that we would have a little bit of extra money so we could buy supplies, like if they want to do art supply, supplies for art, supplies for any type of creative project, and or maybe hire somebody to come and take them on a tour of some of the sacred sites of Mount Shasta. So if you might be interested in helping out with the Black Madonna reparation retreats in honor of White Mahakala, and you could then, in fact, as a white woman, be unto White Mahakala in that situation, sharing the wealth, then please do let me know, and I will show you how you can do it. It's very simple to make a donation. So that's our short bit for today. Thank you for coming, if that's what you were here for. And now let's move on and do Guanyin practice. We're going to start with 3 prostrations, as usual, before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, a person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. And we're holding today Caragwin, whose mom is now passing. And let's see, there was somebody else who I was thinking about this morning, but now it's out of my head. But holding space for all who are suffering today and every day. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. Let's make our offerings. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guan Shi Yin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Omahum. 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 We're also holding today Laura and her family who have the funeral of her stepfather. Let's say our prayer to dedicate these offerings. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxin Pusa, envisioning white Mahakala surfacing forth from Guanyin and going out into the world and helping all beings with rains of jewels. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. And on the subject of being what's needed, these words of Yeshe Tsogyal, our temple's patron. Wherever there is space, 5 elements pervade. Wherever the 5 elements, the homes of living beings. Wherever living beings, karma and defilements. Wherever is defilement, my compassion also. Wherever is the need of beings, there I am to help them. To the hungry I was heaps of food and all good things, and thus I brought them joy. To the cold and freezing I was fire and sun warmth, thus their joy. To the poor and needy I was wealth and riches, thus their joy. To the naked I was every kind of raiment, thus their joy. To the childless I was sons and daughters, thus their joy. To those who sought a lover, I was a loving and attractive consort, and thus their joy. To those who wanted magic powers, I gave prowess in the 8 great cities, and thus I brought them joy. To the sick I was their remedy, and thus their joy. To the anguished I was all their mind desired, and thus I was their joy. To those hard-pressed by the punishments of despots, I was the loving friend to lead them to the land of peace, and I was thus their joy. To those in fear of wild beasts, I was a haven, thus their joy. To those who fell into the depths, I was their drawing out, and thus their joy. To those tormented in the fires, I was a quenching stream, and thus their joy. To those in prey of any of the elements, I was their medicine, and thus their joy. For those who could not see, I was their eyes and brought them joy, and for those who could not walk, I was feet, and thus their joy. I was a tongue for those who could not speak, and thus I brought them joy. To those in fear of death, I granted immortality, and thus I was their joy. I led the dying on the path of transference and brought them joy. To those who wandered in the bardo state, I was their spirit guide, bringing them to joy. I cooled the burning heat and warmed the cold of those lost in the realms of hell. Howsoever they were tortured, I changed myself to shield them, being thus their joy. To those who lingered in the land of hungry ghosts, I was their food and drink, and thus their joy. I was freedom from oppression and servitude for those caught in the wordless state of beasts, and thus I brought them joy. Those beings born in places of war, I protected them from strife and brought them joy. I was a truce from endless conflict for the demigods and was thus their joy. The jealous gods I guarded from their bitter fall, and I was thus their joy. I shielded all from everything that tortured them and was their every joy. Talk about wealth. That is a true wealth, to be able to manifest the energy of whatever is needed in the moment. Very powerful. All right, 108 recitations now of Om Mani Padme Hum as we envision ourselves being what's needed. I just realized that while we were doing the last round of chanting, I realized that I want to do something for our temple and sponsor an online visit to Tibet. And so today in the Goddess Temple app, I'm going to post a couple of different things that we could go see virtually if you want to. And then I'm going to work with my friend Wu Ser, who and his wife Sewang, who organize these online virtual Tibetan pilgrimages. And they're just such wonderful people. And they can, if we want to go and circumambulate the Potala Palace, we can do it. If we want to go and, maybe take a cooking class, we could do that. I'll put 3 choices in the temple notes section of the Goddess Temple app today. I'll kind of select what are 3 things that we might be able to go and do and see what everybody votes on. So be on the lookout for that in the Goddess Temple app. Now let's 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our blessed teachers. May all of my precious teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss, Yeshe Wangmo, be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes, and may we carry the essence of Guan Yin in our hearts. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guan Yin, bow to one another, and bow to the inner teacher. And please do drop your counts in the comments if you've chanted along so that I can put them toward our 1 million count. And look for the announcement in the Goddess Temple app today about our Tibet pilgrimage online. And I also am going to be arranging a Tibet pilgrimage for 2022, hopefully in person. And then also be on the lookout in the coming weeks for my launch of our reparations retreats fundraising campaign so that we can do the first reparations retreat for women of color to come and experience free of charge the relaxing beauty of Mount Shasta and its environs and the skillful guidance of an experienced retreat leader. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend. And I will not be around this weekend. I will be back on Monday.